The wait is almost over as third stimulus check and third stimulus package debuts this week. Yes, Joe Biden in a press conference this week will debut his third stimulus package. But will we actually see the whole bill? Will we actually see the dollar amounts? Will all our questions be answered? Or will we just see bits and parts? I'm predicting you're going to see bits and parts. You're going to see some numbers, but not all the numbers. But in this video, I go over the months of reporting of this channel leading up to the third stimulus check and third stimulus package, the SSDI, the multiple stimulus checks, the FPUC retro, the hazard pay, the EIDL grant, and more, like multiple stimulus checks. All going to happen or none going to happen? I have all the great details for you in this big afternoon's recording of third stimulus check and third stimulus package. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm so excited for you as third stimulus check and third stimulus package debuts. And while we know a certain series of things that are absolutely categorically in there, like the $10,000 loan forgiveness, oh yes, and also Cash Act 2020 will be in there. Yes, he confirms that as well. The $2,000 stimulus check, or the remainder $2,000 stimulus check. What else is in there? Stay tuned, because I need you to first subscribe, because in this video I'm going to go over so much details, but right after this video I'm coming back live, ready to answer your questions. Also, like this video, hit that alert button, that bell on the front of this channel so you get an alert when I do come back live. And also consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Because over the next 5-6 months, I'm going to be getting viewers a lot of money as Hawks. I'm going to ensure you get this money before anyone else, because these programs don't stay around very long. And in this video, I'm going to show how some of the programs may be gone in 3 days. Yes, you got to get it when it's ready. So with that, let me go over what I'm going to cover in this video. I'm going to be covering hazard pay, FPUC retro, SSI and SSDI 2400, MSC, EIDL grant, PPP, Lifeline and CDC grant, and more. Of course, Cash Act 2020 and those Senate seats out of Georgia. And with that, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is that later this week, we see from Joe Biden his third stimulus check and third stimulus package. We don't know if we'll actually see the bill, or if we will be told generally about the bill, or given details about the bill. I certainly predict, and asked last night viewers what they thought, and they agreed, that we're going to see some numbers, but not all the numbers. We're going to hear some details, but not all the details. Why? Because his transition papers were sort of like the same. Like he said he wants to do hazard pay, but wouldn't give a number value for it. Like he said he wants to do $2,400 of SSI and SSDI, but it would explain, well, you're going to start in February or start in January. So we're not going to see every single detail. We'll see those details when the bill is debuted shortly thereafter, perhaps the week after this. And then when would it become law? It's not law yet. It would become law somewhere around the 20th to 21st to 22nd approximately, when Congress votes on it and it lands on his table as the new president after Inauguration Day. So let's go over each of the items. What I'm doing in this video is I'm going to go over the item. I'm going to go over what Joe Biden has said about the item. I'm going to go over your reaction, which I asked last night on the Q&A version of the show, which is purple, every night at 7 p.m. I go over this in detail with you, with your questions and answers. I'll go over your comments you thought about what's going to happen, and then I'll give my predictions. All right, first, $2,400 of SSDI and SSI. Yes, I asked you, do you think it's going to happen? Viewers said yes. I think it's going to happen, yes. Why? Because he wrote a pretty detailed, of all the things in this third stimulus package, this is the most detailed one. $200 on top of your existing benefits if you are on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, or veterans benefits for 12 months to the end of December 31st as a stimulus to cover you because of COVID. Then a new lifetime increase up to 20% and a new benchmark every year different than COLA that would raise your benefits. Your predictions was he's going to do it. My predictions is he is going to do it. This only came from him, didn't came anywhere from any other Democrat, didn't come from the HEROES Act, didn't come from Nancy, and it just makes sense. In fact, Republicans have been trying to do this for years. Fixing these benefits is not a new issue. It is a bipartisan issue. So this is really great news. Some of the comments and questions I get, is it taxable? Presumably, yes. Is it? Am I going to get two of them if I'm both a veteran and a senior? If I'm on both Social Security and veterans benefits? No. Is it for children? Presumably, no. So let's go to the next item: multiple stimulus checks. Well, Joe Biden had in the last 4 days, has said categorically clear that the Cash Act 2020, the $2,000 stimulus check bill, will be in the third stimulus package. That means that if you got $600 under the second stimulus package law, the Mar-a-Lago law that was signed in Mar-a-Lago by President Trump, if you got the $600, then you'll get $1,400 additional. Your adult dependent didn't get anything, you would get the $2,000, the full $2,000. You would also get that retroactive stimulus check back to the first stimulus package. So last night I asked viewers, do you think that's going to be in this as well, as Joe Biden promised on broadcast news live 3 days ago? Viewers said yes. I said yes as well. Okay, so then what about multiple stimulus checks? Do you think you're going to get other stimulus checks like this, or are you really going to be given $2,000 to cover you from April of 2020 to the end of the pandemic, meaning there's no multiple stimulus checks? I asked viewers last night, what did you think? Do you think you're going to be cheated and got given nothing else? Viewers said yes, cheated. My prediction is I am worried that you're not going to get a penny more beyond $1,400, which I think would be categorically insane. I think it would be economic destruction to not give stimulus checks to viewers past this. Now, let's understand, the Cash Act 2020 is a bill to fix the stimulus check of 2020. It's not 2021 stimulus checks. So, and let's also make clear, you were supposed to get stimulus checks in March, April, May last year. You got one. They said they were going to cover that later on. They didn't. You didn't get a check for the entire rest of last year until $600 in December. And now we're coming into the next year, and the pandemic's going to go to June. You're not going to get anything for this year. You're going to get the $1,400 you were owed last year. I think it's a bad move. I hope that is not the case. But I have really no prediction other than that. I hope that is not the situation. Hazard pay. Hazard pay. Joe Biden has made very clear he's paying hazard pay. His use of the words is slightly different than Nancy Pelosi. For example, Nancy Pelosi has really wonderfully detailed eligibility pages. She explains over 7 pages who is eligible for hazard pay. Joe Biden has 2 sentences, no exaggeration. So are we going to have the same realm of eligibility? I don't know. Joe Biden doesn't talk about numbers for hazard pay. Nancy Pelosi does, the $10,000. So last night I asked viewers, do you think there'll be some form of hazard pay of any value in the third stimulus package? All viewers said yes. I agree. There will be hazard pay. So then I asked viewers, is it going to be $10,000 of hazard pay for every single person like Nancy Pelosi wanted to do? Viewers said absolutely no. I agree. I don't think it's going to be $10,000. Here's the problem. The calculation that Nancy Pelosi has makes absolutely no logical sense. If you're an Uber Lyft driver and you sit in a car waiting to pick up a ride, but then after a 6-hour shift, you made $65 that day, well, under her bill, you would count 6 hours times $13 an hour. You would get $800 for that day. And you would continue to count those hours until you get $10,000. And then suddenly, at the end of 2019, you may not have even made more than $7,000 as an Uber Lyft driver, but Nancy Pelosi wants to give you $10,000 in hazard pay. She wants to give you more than you actually make on a non-pandemic year. I don't see that happening. I think it's illogical. I think it's totally illogical. What makes sense is to pay people who actually work as frontline workers, who actually operate as frontline workers and actually made a certain amount of money and risk their lives, rather than just sort of give every single person $10,000 irrespective of what their income level was. If you only made $6,000, why are you getting $10,000 in grants on top of $6,000 of income? Doesn't make sense. So I think you're going to see hazard pay, but not the full $10,000. EIDL grant, the remainder of the $10,000 EIDL grant. Joe Biden promises that, and also the EIDL grant you never got. This is what we call third stimulus EIDL. This is the outstanding debts that the SBA owes you from 2020. Well, debts is a loose word. From 2020 for EIDL. Are you going to get that? Viewers said categorically yes. I say yes as well. PPP, you're going to see another round of PPP. Yes, I say yes as well. Then we turned to FPUC, PUA, and UI. First of all, it's pretty easy to say PUA and UI, which are expiring March 14th under second stimulus package, will get extended by Joe Biden to probably about June or July of this year because the pandemic's going to go past March. That's sort of obvious. So then what about FPUC? Joe Biden has 2 periods of FPUC to deal with. He has December to June to deal with in 2021, and then he has July of last year to December of last year to deal with. Viewers of the channel categorically believe that he's going to pay FPUC from December 2020 forward to June of this year at a number higher than $300. So he's going to come in and revise the $300 and raise it up. Viewers think it's going to be, it may exactly be what he had predicted. I think that he's going to do exactly that. I think he has written in writing it's going to be $600 a week. He has said it 1,000 times, $600 a week. So I think he's going to do $600 a week from December 2020 forward. So then the next question is the FPUC retro. It's a big issue of contention among a lot of people. And Joe Biden said he's going to do FPUC retro back from July of last year to December of last year, $600 a week. That's 20 weeks, that's $12,000. Viewers were asked last night, do you think you're going to get FPUC retro of any dollar value? 50% said no. Then I said, do you think you're going to get FPUC retro at $600 a week? Viewers unanimously said no. My opinion is the following. I think it's going to look really bad if he suddenly gives people who are unemployed in 2021 $600 of FPUC, but doesn't give a penny to anyone who was unemployed during the worst parts of this pandemic from July to December of last year. How can you give them nothing and then suddenly give people this year $600? I think you have to give people something retro. And perhaps maybe the retro period is not 20 weeks, maybe it's 10 weeks. But to say zero, it would be really quite shocking. Then let's turn to all the other things. CDC grant. Is that going to happen? Lifeline grant. Every time I say, see, there it goes again. Every time I say Lifeline grant, I just break out in laughter. Why? Because I think it's the most ridiculous instrument I've ever heard. It's $50,000. Who gets a $50,000 free grant? Have you heard any $50,000 free grants ever? Ever? I mean, maybe if your business made $29 million last year. But $50,000 grants, I just don't see that happening. That's a Nancy Pelosi thing. That's not a Joe Biden thing. The CDC grant, that is also a Nancy Pelosi thing. That's not a Joe Biden thing. CDC grant, it looks like hazard pay. Lifeline grant looks like EIDL. So why do we need 2 EIDLs since instruments and 2 hazard pay instruments on the third stimulus package? I don't think you're going to see it. I don't think you're going to see it. There's going to be more rent. There's going to be more utilities. And then finally, the student loan debt forgiveness. Viewers were asked, do you think Joe Biden is going to give student loan debt forgiveness? Viewers unanimously said yes. I agree. Then I asked viewers, do you think the student loan debt forgiveness will be $10,000 or $50,000? Chuck Schumer was asking for $50,000. Last Friday, Joe Biden says he will do $10,000 student loan debt forgiveness, no matter how old the student loan debt is, federal debt. Viewers unanimously said Joe Biden's going to do it at $10,000. I agree. So there you go. Now, what am I also predicting? I'm predicting that the third stimulus package will involve instruments or items, I guess you would say, make it very simple English, that no one has ever talked about before. It's just going to surprise you. You're going to say, what is this thing? Oh, this is a very interesting thing. What is this? How does this work? Am I eligible for this? And I think it's going to spur a lot of conversation, a lot of analysis from me, and a lot of looking at the language and the wording. You got to remember that this channel was started in April 25th. By April 25th, the first stimulus package had been around for a few months, and that by July I moved into stimulus. But I was covering PPP, EIDL, PUA, FPUC on the very first day. But those were instruments that were created under the first stimulus package. I fully believe I fully would not be surprised that under the third stimulus package, you may hear new instruments like RQL and ZLE, because PPP and PUA were new things created by the Trump administration under the CARES Act 1. So don't be surprised that the Biden administration just creates totally new instruments that have totally new names that we've never heard before, that do things totally different than anything we've seen before. He has had a lot of very good economic advisors. He has Janet Yellen working for him, and he has a lot of ability to do unusual things that fix things in different ways. The great news that I think I'm really fundamentally at heart excited for you about is that the viewers of this channel love information, love to be informed, and love to get ready to pounce. And as Purple Hawks, you all know that the 2021 third stimulus package will be big money for Purple Hawks and potentially very little money for donut guys. Donut guys are people that just sit back and ask for checks. People that just read news, just wait for people to read the news reports about a check landing. When am I getting the next check? When's the check after that? When's the check after that? I fully believe and predict that the 2021 will not be the year of just checks landing and you don't do anything. I believe it's going to be a year where you apply for stuff and you get thousands and thousands of dollars. And with that, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Also hit that alert button, like this video, and consider becoming a Purple Hawk by clicking the join link on this video. Join to become either a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP, so ensuring that you get the money before anyone else. Finally, what do I mean by before anyone else? I'm going to give you an example. In May of 2020, I was detailing the EIDL when it went live for agricultural. That's the Economic Injury Disaster Grant for agriculture. I had told viewers on Monday it went live. Some waited to apply. It was Monday and then Tuesday, not agriculture, it was everyone. It went live on a Monday. Tuesday it was still live. Wednesday it was still live. By Wednesday afternoon, it was gone. There was no money. In 3 days, the entire EIDL grant program was used up. That's what's going to happen in the third stimulus package. There's tons of millions of people that need a lot of money. And what you need to know is be ready to pounce, be able to stop what you're doing. You have that pen and paper for the notes you've been making for this channel, and you need to be ready to pounce and get that money. And with that, join me next on Bean and Mitch. Big updates across the board on your second stimulus, third stimulus, and Cash Act stimulus check. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay in my life for more.